Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UE's horizon, watching the stars through the large viewing window. The ship was on a routine patrol mission in the Kepler 442 system. It was supposed to be a quiet trip, just checking for any problems in the area. Jake was 32 years old and had been commanding ships for 8 years. He was tall with brown hair and serious blue eyes. His crew trusted him because he always put their safety first. Today, his team included Lisa Grant, his tactical officer, who was 28 and very good at handling weapon systems. Sam Torres was their engineer, a smart 26-year-old who could fix anything on the ship. The bridge was quiet except for the soft humming of the ship's engines. Lisa sat at her station, monitoring space around them for any threats. Sam was checking the ship's systems to make sure everything was working properly. Suddenly, Lisa's console started beeping. She looked at her screen with surprise. "Captain, I'm picking up a distress signal. It's coming from about 2 million kilometers away near that asteroid field." Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of signal?" "It's not human, sir. The pattern is completely different from anything in our databases, but it's definitely a call for help." Sam looked up from his console. "Captain, regulations say we should report unknown alien contacts to command and wait for orders." Jake stared at the screen showing the location of the signal. He knew Sam was right about the rules, but someone out there needed help, and they might not have time to wait for orders from Earth. "How long would it take us to reach them?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her instruments. "About 20 minutes at full speed." "And how long to contact command and get a response?" "At least 3 hours, sir." Jake made his decision. "Set course for the distress signal. Full speed." Sam looked worried. "Captain, if it's a trap ... then we'll deal with it. But I won't let someone die while we wait for paperwork." The horizon turned toward the asteroid field and increased speed. As they got closer, they could see a damaged ship floating among the large rocks. The vessel was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was long and curved, with a dark blue color that seemed to shimmer in the starlight. Parts of it were badly damaged, with holes in the hull and no lights showing. "I'm not detecting any life signs," Lisa reported. "Wait. There's something. Very faint readings from inside the ship. Can we dock with it?" Jake asked. Sam studied the damaged ship on his screen. "It's possible, but risky. Their docking system is completely different from ours." "Make it work," Jake ordered. It took Sam 15 minutes to figure out how to connect their ship to the alien vessel. When they finally docked, Jake suited up in his space armor and prepared to go aboard. Lisa and Sam wanted to come with him, but Jake insisted on going first to make sure it was safe. The alien ship was dark inside. Jake used his helmet lights to see as he moved through the corridors. The walls were covered with strange symbols, and the air had a different smell. He followed his life detector toward the faint signals Lisa had found. In what looked like the ship's main control room, Jake found them. There was a tall female alien lying on the floor, badly injured. She had blue-gray skin and long silver hair. Her clothes looked like some kind of military uniform, but torn and bloody. Near her were 3 younger females who looked similar to her. The injured alien opened her eyes when Jake's light hit her face. She tried to reach for a weapon, but she was too weak. Jake held up his hands to show he meant no harm. "I'm here to help," he said, even though he didn't know if she could understand him. The alien said something in a language he had never heard before. Her voice was soft but strong, even though she was hurt. She pointed to the 3 younger aliens, then to herself, and made a gesture that seemed to mean protection. Jake activated his communicator. "Lisa, Sam, I need you over here now. Bring medical supplies. We have 4 injured aliens, and one of them is in bad shape." While he waited for his crew, Jake knelt beside the injured alien. She was losing a lot of blood from wounds on her chest and arms. He used his basic medical kit to try to stop the bleeding. The alien watched him carefully, but did not try to stop him. Lisa and Sam arrived quickly with more medical equipment. Lisa was trained as a field medic and immediately went to work on the most serious wounds. Sam checked the 3 younger aliens, who seemed to be in better condition. "They're all alive," Sam reported. "The young ones are hurt, but not critically. This one, though." He looked at the injured female. "She needs real medical attention soon." That's when their ship's alarm started blaring. Lisa looked at her portable scanner and her face went pale. "Captain, we have company. 3 ships just came out of hyperspace. They're heading straight for us." Jake looked at the scanner display. The approaching ships were different from the one they were on. These vessels were black and angular, with weapon ports clearly visible along their hulls. "Are they trying to communicate?" Jake asked. "No, sir. They're charging weapons." The injured alien heard this and became very agitated. She grabbed Jake's arm and spoke urgently in her language. She kept pointing at the younger aliens and then at the approaching ships. Even without understanding her words, Jake could see the fear in her eyes. "They're the ones who attacked this ship," Jake realized, "and they're coming to finish the job." The first enemy shots hit the asteroid field around them, sending rocks flying in all directions. Jake had to make a choice quickly. "Sam, can we move these 4 to our ship?" "The injured one shouldn't be moved, Captain. It could kill her." Another barrage of energy weapons lit up the space around them. This time, some shots hit the alien vessel they were on. The ship shook and more lights went out. Jake looked at the injured alien. She was still conscious and watching him. Somehow, she seemed to understand what was happening. She spoke again, more quietly this time, and Jake thought he heard something like gratitude in her voice. "We're not leaving them," Jake decided. "Lisa, get back to our ship and prepare for combat. Sam, help me get these 4 to our medical bay, now." "Captain, if we try to fight 3 ships, ... We'll figure it out. Move." They worked quickly to transfer the aliens to the horizon. The injured female lost consciousness as they carried her, but she was still breathing. Jake carried one of the younger aliens himself. She was awake and looked at him with large, intelligent eyes that seemed much older than her apparent age. Once everyone was aboard their ship, Jake ran to the bridge. The 3 enemy vessels were closing in fast, and they looked much more powerful than the horizon. "Lisa, what do we have for weapons?" 2 pulse cannons and a missile launcher. They have enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. Jake sat in his captain's chair and watched the enemy ships approach. He had saved 4 alien lives, but now his own crew was in danger. The smart thing would be to try to run, but their ship wasn't built for speed. "Sam, how long until our engine can jump to hyperspace?" 10 minutes, Captain." "We don't have 10 minutes. Jake looked at the tactical display. The enemy ships would be in firing range in less than 3 minutes. "Lisa, target the lead ship. We're going to have to fight our way out." The battle was about to begin, and Jake could only hope that saving the 4 aliens had been worth the risk to his crew. 3 weeks had passed since the battle with the black ships. Jake Morrison lay in the medical bay of the horizon, his body covered in bandages. The fight had been brutal and desperate. The enemy ships had been stronger, but Jake had used the asteroid field to his advantage. He had managed to destroy 2 of the attacking vessels before the 3rd one retreated, but victory had come at a cost. During the final moments of the battle, Jake had thrown himself in front of an explosion that would have killed the injured alien woman. The blast had sent metal pieces into his chest and left him unconscious for weeks. Now he was finally waking. Up, his eyes opened slowly, and the first thing he saw was a face looking down at him. It was the alien woman he had saved. She was sitting beside his bed, and she looked much better than before. Her blue-gray skin had a healthy glow, and her silver hair was neatly braided. "You are awake," she said in perfect English. Her voice was deep and musical. Jake tried to sit up, but pain shot through his body. "You can speak our language?" "I have. Been learning while you healed. My name is Thyra Velnath. I am a commander in the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet." She helped him sit up carefully. "You saved my life and the lives of my daughters. This creates a sacred debt that must be repaid." "Your daughters?" Jake looked around the medical bay and saw 3 young alien women standing near the wall. They all had the same blue-gray skin and silver hair as Thyra, but they were taller and looked stronger. "Yes, allow me to introduce them." Thyra gestured to the oldest one. "This is Kira, my eldest daughter. She is 22 years old and a master of energy weapons and battle tactics." Kira stepped forward and bowed her head slightly. She was about 6 feet tall with short silver hair and intense golden eyes. She wore what looked like a military uniform, and Jake could see several weapons attached to her belt. "This is Luna, who is 20 years old. She specializes in stealth operations and close combat." Luna was slightly shorter than Kira, with longer hair that she wore in a ponytail. Her movements were smooth and quiet, like a cat. She nodded at Jake, but did not speak. "And this is Nova, my youngest at 19 years old. She has rare abilities in both technology and mental powers." Nova was the smallest of the 3, but her eyes seemed to glow with intelligence. When she looked at Jake, he felt like she could see right into his thoughts. Jake looked at all 4 of them. "I'm glad you're all safe, but you don't owe me anything. I just did what anyone would do." Thyra shook her head firmly. "No, Captain Morrison, what you did goes far beyond normal duty. In Zephyrian culture, when someone saves the life of a noble and her bloodline, a sacred debt is created. This debt can only be repaid through the ancient ritual of Vel'Karath." "What does that mean?" Jake asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. "It means that my daughters and I are bound to serve you until the debt is paid. Since you saved, not just my life, but preserved my family line, this debt is of the highest order." Jake felt uncomfortable with this idea. "Look, I appreciate the offer, but I can't accept people as payment for anything. You're free to go wherever you want." The 3 daughters looked at each other with surprise. Kira spoke for the first time. "You would refuse such an honor? In our culture, to be bound to serve a great warrior is a privilege. I'm not a great warrior. I'm just a ship captain who tried to help some people in trouble." Nova stepped closer to his bed. When she spoke, her voice was soft but clear. "We have been studying your species while you recovered. Humans are very different from us. You help others even when it brings you no benefit. This is rare in the galaxy. Most species would have left us to die," Luna added, "or they would have demanded payment before helping." Thyra nodded. "This is why the debt must be honored. You risked your life and your crew for strangers. By Zephyrian law, we belong to you now." Jake tried to get out of bed, but his injuries made him dizzy. "I don't want to own anyone. You're all free beings who can make your own choices." "It is not about ownership," Thyra explained. "It is about honor and duty. My daughters are trained warriors, among the best in the Zephyrian Empire. They can serve you in battle, protect you from enemies, and help you achieve any goals you might have." "What if I don't have any battles to fight?" Kira laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Captain, you destroyed 2 Krillian warships and helped us escape. The Krillian Empire has marked you for death. You will have battles whether you want them or not." This was news to Jake. "The Krillians? Is that who attacked your ship? Yes. They are a brutal species that conquers worlds and enslaves other races. They attacked our ship because we were carrying important information about their military plans. Sam Torres entered the medical bay at that moment. He looked surprised to see Jake awake. Captain, you're finally up. How are you feeling? Like, I was hit by an asteroid, Jake replied. Sam, what's our status? We're currently docked at the Frontier Station. The Colonial Council wants to debrief you about the alien contact. And sir, there's been some concerning intelligence reports about Krillian fleet movements. Bayra stood up. You see? The danger is real. The Krillians do not forgive those who oppose them. They will come for you. Jake looked at the three daughters. Again, despite their alien appearance, he could see the intelligence and determination in their eyes. If you really want to help, I won't stop you. But I want to be clear that this is your choice, not an obligation. Kira stepped forward. We choose to honor the debt. But we must know that you are worthy of our service. What do you mean? We will observe how you lead, how you fight, and how you treat others. If you prove to be weak or dishonorable, we will leave. Jake nodded. That's fair. Luna spoke up. We have been watching your crew while you recovered. They respect you and would die for you. This is a good sign. But we need to see for ourselves, Nova added. Zephyrian warriors only follow leaders who earn their loyalty through action. Lisa Grant entered the medical bay, carrying a datapad. Captain, I hate to interrupt, but we have a problem. Long-range sensors are detecting a large Krillian fleet heading toward the frontier systems. Intelligence estimates they'll be here in less than a week. Thyra's expression became grim. They are coming for us. The information we carry is too valuable for them to let us escape. What kind of information? Jake asked. The location of their main fleet base and the plans for their next major offensive. If this information reaches the human military, it could save millions of lives. Jake tried to stand up again, this time more carefully. His body hurt, but he could move. Then we need to get that information to Earth as soon as possible. The Krillians will try to stop us, Kira warned. Their fleet is much larger than a single human ship can handle. Then it's a good thing I won't be fighting alone, Jake said, looking at the three sisters. If you really want to help, I could use some experienced warriors. For the first time since he had met them, all three daughters smiled. It was a fierce expression that reminded Jake that these were not ordinary women, but trained killers who had chosen to fight beside him. We accept, Kira said formally. Until the sacred debt is paid, we are yours to command. Jake hoped he was making the right decision. War was coming, and he would need all the help he could get. The Krillian fleet arrived at New Denver Colony 6 days later, just as the intelligence reports had predicted. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching dozens of black enemy ships drop out of hyperspace. The colony's defense fleet looked tiny compared to the attacking force. How many ships? Jake asked Lisa Grant, who was monitoring the tactical display. 43 Krillian vessels, sir. The colony only has 8 defense ships. Jake felt his stomach tighten. New. Denver was home to nearly 2 million people. If the colony fell, most of them would die or be enslaved. Captain, came Kira's voice from behind him. She had been studying human military tactics for the past week, preparing for this moment. In Zephyrian warfare, we use the terrain to our advantage. This star system has an asteroid belt that could provide cover. Jake turned to look at her. What do you suggest? Split the defense fleet. Use fast ships to hit the enemy from different directions, while the larger ships protect the colony. Make them chase us through the asteroids. Nova, who had been working with Sam Torres to understand human technology, spoke up. I can merge our targeting systems with Zephyrian combat computers. It will make your weapons much more accurate. Do it, Jake ordered. Luna, what about you? The middle sister had been quiet, but now she stepped forward. Give me a small team and a fast ship. I can infiltrate their command vessel and cause chaos from inside. Jake looked at all three sisters. A week ago, they had been strangers. Now, they were offering to risk their lives for a human colony they had never seen. Are you sure about this? You don't owe these people anything. Kyra's golden eyes flashed. We owe you everything, and we have seen how humans protect each other. This is honorable. The first Krillian attack began 15 minutes later. Their black ships moved in perfect formation, firing deadly energy beams at the colony's shields. The defense stations began shooting back, but their weapons seemed small against the enemy. Fleet.Jake took command of the combined human and Zephyrian forces. The Horizon led 3 other ships toward the asteroid belt, trying to draw some of the attackers away from New Denver. Remember, Kira said over the comm system, Krillians are aggressive but not creative. They will follow us into the belt if we make them angry enough. Jake smiled grimly. Then let's make them very angry. The battle that followed was unlike anything Jake had ever experienced. The human ships used hit-and-run tactics, darting between asteroids and firing quick shots. Before disappearing again, the Krillians took the bait and sent half their fleet chasing after them. Nova's enhanced targeting systems worked perfectly. Human weapons that normally missed moving targets were now hitting with deadly accuracy. Sam Torres watched in amazement as their missile hit rate went from 30% to 90%. How is she doing that? He asked. Zephyrian technology reads the enemy's mind patterns, Nova explained calmly while working at her console. I can predict where they will move before they know it themselves. Meanwhile, Luna had managed to board a Krillian supply ship with 2 human marines. Her stealth abilities allowed them to move through the enemy vessel without being detected. She planted explosives in their ammunition storage and weapon systems. Luna to Horizon. Her voice came through the comm. Charges are set. Get ready for fireworks. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. The supply ship broke apart, taking 3 nearby Krillian fighters with it. More importantly, it created confusion in their battle formation. Kira saw the opportunity immediately. Now, Captain. While they're disorganized, Jake ordered all human ships to attack at once. They emerged from behind asteroids like angry hornets, firing everything they had at the confused Krillian fleet. 6 enemy ships were destroyed in the first 30 seconds, but the Krillians were not helpless. Their remaining ships regrouped and began a coordinated assault on New Denver itself. The colony's shields started failing under the heavy bombardment. We have to get back there, Jake said. The colony won't last much longer. The return trip to New Denver took 8 minutes. When they arrived, Jake saw that the situation was desperate. 3 of the colony's defense ships had been destroyed, and the shields were down to 20% power. Kira, I need a miracle, Jake said. Then we give them one. She moved to the weapons console. Sam, can you overload the ship's power core temporarily? Sam looked worried. That could destroy us if we're not careful. But it would give us 10 times normal weapon power for about 5 minutes? Yes, but do it. Jake made the decision. Quickly, Sam, overload the core. Everyone else, prepare for emergency evacuation if this goes wrong. The Horizon's power system screamed as Sam pushed them beyond their limits. Nova helped him balance the energy flow using Zephyrian techniques. For a few moments, their single ship had the firepower of an entire fleet. Kira targeted the largest Krillian battleship and fired everything at once. The massive enemy vessel disappeared in a ball of flame. Then she turned to the next target, and the next dot in 5 minutes, the Horizon destroyed 8 Krillian ships by itself. The remaining enemy fleet, shocked by this impossible display of power, began to retreat, but Jake's ship paid the price. A power overload had damaged most of their systems. They were drifting helplessly when Luna's voice came over the comm. "Captain, I'm still aboard a Krillian ship. They're trying to retreat, but I can stop them. Luna, get out of there. It's too dangerous. I can destroy their command ship. It will end this battle permanently." Jake felt torn. He didn't want to lose one of the sisters, but thousands of lives were at stake. "Can you escape after you destroy it? I will try." Luna's stolen ship rammed into the Krillian command vessel at full speed. The explosion was massive, taking out both ships and 3 nearby fighters. For several long minutes, there was no word from Luna Dot. Then a small escape pod appeared on the scanners, heading toward New Denver. Jake felt relief wash over him as they picked up Luna's life signs. The battle was over. The surviving Krillian ships fled into hyperspace, leaving behind the wreckage of nearly half their fleet. New Denver was safe. 3 hours later, Jake sat in the colony's medical center with the 3 sisters. Luna had survived the crash with only minor injuries. All 4 of them were exhausted but alive. "You saved 2 million people today," Jake told them. Kira shook her head. "We all saved them. Humans and Zephyrians fighting together. I have never seen such teamwork," Lyra said as she entered the room. "My daughters have found a worthy leader." Nova looked at Jake with her glowing eyes. "When we first met, we were not sure if humans were worth serving. Now we know." "What do you mean?" "You could have left the colony to save your own ship. Instead, you risked everything to protect strangers. This is the mark of a true warrior." Luna nodded. "In Zephyrian culture, we respect strength. But you have shown us that protecting others is the greatest strength of all." Jake felt something change in that moment. These 3 alien women were no longer bound to him by debt or duty. They had chosen to fight beside him because they believed in what he stood for. "So what happens now?" he asked. Kira smiled. "And for the first time, it looked completely natural. Now we prepare for the next battle. The Krillians will not give up easily, and we will be ready for them," Luna added. Nova stood up and placed her hand on Jake's shoulder. "We are no longer just following orders, Captain. We are family now." Looking at their faces, Jake realized she was right. Somewhere between the sin, rescue, and the battle, they had become more than allies. They had become something stronger. 2 weeks after the battle at New Denver, Jake Morrison found himself in the most difficult situation of his life. He stood in the main conference room of the Human Fleet Command Station, facing a panel of 5 senior admirals. The 3 Zephyrian sisters stood behind him, silent but alert. Admiral Helen Carter, the head of Colonial Defense, looked at Jake with cold eyes. "Captain Morrison, you have created a serious diplomatic problem. These alien warriors possess military secrets that could be vital to human security. With respect, Admiral, they're not prisoners. They chose to help us defend New Denver." "That's not the point," said Admiral Robert Stone, a heavy man with gray hair. "We need to question them about Zephyrian military capabilities, ship designs, and weapon systems. This information could save human lives in future conflicts." Kira stepped forward, her golden eyes flashing with anger. "We are not your property to be questioned like criminals." "You will speak when spoken to," Admiral Stone snapped. Jake moved between them. "Admiral, these women are heroes. They helped save 2 million colonists. They deserve respect, not interrogation." Admiral Carter leaned forward. "Captain, you seem to forget that you serve the human military. Your first loyalty is to our species, not to these aliens." Before Jake could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. A communications officer rushed into the room. Admirals, we have a situation. A Zephyrian battle fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. They're demanding to speak with you. On the main viewing screen, a massive alien warship appeared. It was 3 times larger than any human vessel, with elegant curves and glowing energy weapons. The image shifted to show the bridge of the ship. A tall Zephyrian male appeared on screen. He had the same blue-gray skin as Thyra and her daughters, but his hair was black instead of silver. Gold markings covered his uniform, showing his high rank. "I am Admiral Corvan Velnath of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet," he said in perfect English. "I have come for my nieces." Thyra entered the conference room at that moment, having been summoned by the alarms. When she saw her brother on the screen, her face showed both relief and worry. "Corvan," she said, "I did not expect you to come. Personally. Sister, when I heard that you and your daughters had been captured by aliens, I brought a full battle group to rescue you." "We were not captured," Thyra replied firmly. "We were saved." Admiral Corvan's eyes moved to Jake. "You are the human. Who holds my nieces in debt bondage?" "I don't hold anyone," Jake said. "They're free to leave whenever they want." "That is not how the sacred debt works, human. My nieces are bound to serve you until their honor is satisfied. But I am here to offer an alternative." Admiral Carter spoke up. "Admiral Corvan, we should discuss this through proper diplomatic channels." "I am not speaking to you," Corvan said coldly. "I address only the one who holds the debt." He looked back at Jake. "Human captain, I offer you a trade. Return my nieces to their people, and I will give you 10 ships and their crews to serve in their place." Jake felt everyone's eyes on him. The human admirals were clearly interested in this offer. 10 advanced alien warships would be incredibly valuable. "What do you say, Captain Morrison?" Admiral Carter asked. This could be the beginning of a powerful military alliance. Jake looked at the 3 sisters. Kira's face was carefully neutral, but he could see tension in her posture. Luna was staring at the floor, her hands clenched into fists. Nova was watching him with her intense gaze, as if trying to read his thoughts. "I need to think about this," Jake said. Admiral Corvan nodded. "You have 1 hour to decide." "But no. This human, my nieces are noble-born warriors, trained from childhood for battle. They do not belong among your kind." The transmission ended, leaving the conference room in tense silence. Admiral Stone stood up. "Captain, this is not a difficult choice. 10 warships are worth more than 3 individuals, no matter how skilled they are. Plus," Admiral Carter added, "keeping them here could damage relations with the Zephyrian Empire. We need allies, not enemies." Jake looked at the sisters again. "I'd like to speak with them privately." "Captain Morrison," Admiral Carter warned, "your decision affects more than just personal feelings. You have a duty to humanity." 5 minutes, Jake said firmly. The admirals left reluctantly. When they were alone, Jake turned to face Kira, Luna, and Nova. "Tell me honestly," he said. "What do you want?" Kira spoke first. "The Admiral is my uncle. He raised us after our father died in battle. We owe him respect and obedience. That's not what I asked. What do you want?" Luna looked up from the floor. "When I was growing up, I was taught that duty was more important than personal desires. Zephyrian warriors do not think about what they want. But now?" Jake pressed. "Now I have seen a different way of living," she said quietly. "Humans make choices based on friendship and love, not just duty and honor." Nova stepped closer to Jake. "Among our people, warriors are tools to be used by those in power. Here we are treated as individuals with our own thoughts and feelings. So you want to stay?" All 3 sisters looked at each other. Kira spoke. "For them, we want to stay with you, Jake, not because of the sacred debt, but because we choose to. You have shown us that we can be more than just weapons." Jake felt a warmth in his chest, but also a heavy weight of responsibility. Even if it means going against your uncle and your entire culture? Yes, Kira said without hesitation. Even if it causes problems between humans and Zephyrians? We will face whatever comes, Luna added. Nova placed her hand on Jake's arm. You taught us that protecting others is more important than following orders. Now we want to protect you. Jake was about to respond when the alarm sounded again. This time, it was a different kind of warning, one that meant immediate danger. Sam Torre's voice came over the communication system. Captain, we have a big problem. Krillian ships are attacking the outer patrol line. But that's not the worst part. What's the worst part? Jake asked. They have some kind of new weapon. It's destroying our ships with a single shot. And, sir, there are Krillian agents on this station. They just tried to assassinate Admiral Carter. Jake's blood went cold. Where is she? Medical Bay. She'll live, but barely. Captain, we think this is all connected. The Krillians want to start a war between humans and Zephyrians. Jake looked at the three sisters. If there are Krillian spies here, then you're all in danger too. Let them come, Kira said, drawing her energy weapon. We are ready. The station shook as explosions echoed through the corridors. Jake realized that the choice he had to make was no longer about duty or politics. It was about survival. Admiral Corvin's voice came over the station's communication system. Human station, my ships are detecting Krillian vessels approaching your position. Do you require assistance? Jake made his decision. He activated the COM system. Admiral Corvin, this is Captain Morrison. Yes, we need help, and I have an answer to your offer. Speak. Your nieces are staying with me, not because I own them, but because they choose to stay. If you want to fight beside us against the Krillians, you're welcome. If not, we understand. There was a long pause. Then Admiral Corvin's voice came back, and Jake thought he heard approval in it. Very well, human. My nieces have always been stubborn. If they have chosen you, then perhaps you are worthy after all. We will fight together. The battle for the station was about to begin. The Krillian attack on the command station was swift and brutal. Jake Morrison ran through the shaking corridors with Kira, Luna, and Nova beside him. Explosions echoed throughout the station as enemy boarding parties fought human security forces. Where are we going? Kira shouted over the noise. To the docking bay, Jake replied. We need to get to our ship and coordinate the defense. They reached the main corridor to find it blocked by smoke and debris. Through the haze, Jake could see black-armored Krillian soldiers advancing toward them. Their weapons glowed with deadly. Energy. Luna disappeared into the shadows before Jake could stop her. Seconds later, screams came from the enemy ranks as she attacked them from behind. Her stealth abilities made her invisible until she struck. Kira raised her energy rifle and began firing with deadly accuracy. Each shot found its target, dropping Krillian soldiers one by one. Nova stood behind her, using her mental abilities to predict where the enemies would move next. Left side, 3 more coming, Nova warned. Kira spun and fired before the soldiers even appeared around the corner. Jake had seen many battles, but nothing like this. The 3 sisters fought like they shared one mind. They reached the docking bay to find the horizon surrounded by enemy forces. Sam Torres and Lisa Grant were trapped inside the ship, unable to launch. We need a distraction, Jake said. I have an idea, Nova replied. She closed her eyes and concentrated. Suddenly, every electronic device in the docking bay began sparking and smoking. The Krillian weapons stopped working, and their communication systems failed. Now, Jake shouted. They charged across the bay while the enemy was confused. Jake and Kira provided covering fire, while Luna used her combat skills to clear a path to the ship. Nova kept the electronic jamming active until they were all safely aboard. "Sam, get us out of here," Jake ordered as he reached the bridge. "Working on it, Captain, but there's a problem. Long-range sensors show a massive Krillian fleet approaching. Over 200 ships." Jake's heart sank. Even with Admiral Corvin's help, they were vastly outnumbered. "Captain," came Admiral Corvin's voice over the communication system, "my fleet is moving to intercept the enemy, but we need to discuss strategy." Minutes later, Jake found himself in a virtual conference with Admiral Corvin and the surviving human commanders. Admiral Carter was alive, but badly injured, so Admiral Stone was in command. "The Krillians have brought their main battle fleet," Admiral Corvin explained. "This is not just an attack. This is an invasion force meant to conquer both human and Zephyrian space. How many ships do we have total?" Jake asked. 30 human vessels and 20 Zephyrian ships," Admiral Stone replied. "Against 200 enemy ships, we cannot win a direct battle." Nova had been quietly studying the enemy fleet data. Now she spoke up. "There is a way, but it is very dangerous." "Tell us," Jake said. "The Krillian fleet is centered around one massive command ship. It coordinates all their other vessels using a central computer system. If we can destroy that ship, the rest of their fleet will be confused and disorganized." Admiral Corvin nodded. "But that ship is protected by 50 of their best fighters. Getting close enough to destroy it would be suicide." "Not if we use the right tactics," Kira added. "Luna and I have studied their formation. There is a way to reach the command ship, but it requires a small team to board it directly." Jake realized what they were suggesting. "You want to infiltrate their flagship. It is the only way to stop them," Luna said. "But we cannot do it alone. We need you with us, Jake." Admiral Stone objected immediately. "Captain Morrison, you cannot risk yourself on such a mission. You are too valuable." "With respect, Admiral, this is my decision to make." Admiral Corvin looked at Jake with new respect. "You would risk your life alongside my nieces?" "They're not just your nieces anymore," Jake replied. "They're my family. We fight together or not at all." The battle began 2 hours later. The combined human and Zephyrian fleets met the Krillian invasion force near the outer edge of the star system. The space around them lit up with energy weapons and explosions. Jake piloted a small, fast ship toward the enemy flagship with the 3 sisters aboard. Around them, the larger battle raged as their allies tried to keep the enemy fighters busy. "Enemy fighters incoming," Lisa reported from the horizon, which was providing cover for their approach. "I see them," Jake said, pushing their ship into a steep dive to avoid enemy fire. Nova was working at the ship's computer console. "I am jamming their targeting systems, but it will not last long." They dodged between the massive Krillian warships, using their size to hide from enemy sensors. Luna pointed out weak spots in the flagship's defenses that they could exploit. "There," she said. "That docking port is lightly guarded." Jake brought their ship alongside the enemy flagship and managed to dock without being detected. The 4 of them suited up in combat armor and prepared to board. The inside of the Krillian ship was dark and filled with strange machinery. The corridors were wider than human ships, built for the tall Krillian warriors. They moved carefully toward the command center, avoiding enemy patrols. "How much time do we have?" Jake whispered. "Maybe 10 minutes before they realize we're here." Kira replied. They reached the command center to find it heavily guarded. Through the doorway, Jake could see the Krillian fleet commander, a massive alien with red eyes and black armor. He was directing the battle from a raised platform. 20 guards, Luna counted. Too many for a direct assault. Nova smiled. "And we do not assault directly." She reached out with her mental abilities and began affecting the ship's systems. Lights flickered, gravity fluctuated, and alarms began sounding throughout the vessel. In the confusion, Luna and Kira attacked the guards while Jake headed for the command platform. The Krillian commander turned to face him, drawing a huge energy sword. "Human," the alien growled. "You dare challenge me aboard my own ship?" "I dare a lot of things," Jake replied, raising his own weapon. The fight was brutal. The Krillian commander was stronger and had longer reach, but Jake was faster and more creative. While they battled, the three sisters worked to destroy the ship's main computer. Nova's fingers flew over the alien controls. "I am in their system, uploading a virus that will spread to their entire fleet." "How long?" Kira asked while fighting off more guards. 2 more minutes." Jake ducked under the commander's sword and managed to land a solid hit with his energy pistol. The alien staggered, but did not fall. "You cannot win, human. Even if you destroy this ship, more will come. The Krillian Empire is vast." "Maybe," Jake said, dodging another attack. "But we'll keep fighting anyway. That's what humans do." The commander raised his sword for a killing blow, but Luna appeared behind him like a shadow. Her blade found the gap in his armor, and the massive alien fell. "Virus uploaded," Nova announced. "We need to leave now." They ran back to their ship as explosions began rocking the Krillian flagship. The virus was spreading through their fleet, causing ships to lose control and crash into each other. As they escaped, Jake watched the enemy fleet tear itself apart. Ships that had been perfectly coordinated were now firing on each other by mistake. "It is over," Admiral Corvin's voice came over the comm. "The remaining Krillian ships are retreating." 3 months later, Jake stood on the bridge of a new ship. He was no longer just a captain, but an admiral commanding the first joint human Zephyrian task force. The three sisters served as his senior officers, no longer bound by debt, but united by choice and love. Kira was his strategic advisor, helping plan missions that used both human creativity and Zephyrian honor. Luna led their special operations teams, training human soldiers in Zephyrian combat techniques. Nova headed their technology development program, creating new weapons and defenses. "Admiral," Kira said, approaching with a smile, "we have our next assignment. Intelligence reports suggest Krillian raiders are threatening the outer colonies." Jake looked at his 3 companions, the women who had become his family. "Then we better get going. We have people to protect." As their ship jumped to hyperspace, Jake reflected on how much had changed. A simple rescue mission had become something much greater. They had proven that different species could work together. That strength came not from conquest, but from choosing to protect others. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but they would face it together.